afternoon once again. This time we are going to be looking at relief presentation. We are going to be actually dealing with what we call description in terms of relief. When we talk about relief, we are going to be seeing how different hues may appear, plateaus, then it varies. When you look at the content below, they are saying that they have introduction, objective, or main concepts. Then we are going to be looking at the general description of relief on the maps. Then look at the analysis of the major terrain configuration. When we talk about terrain, actually it is the same as what we call relief. We are going to be looking how the relief is distributed onto the map. Then we push on and look at what we call the general slope analysis, where we shall be looking at the slip of face. They talk about the slippage face. They talk about the lost segments and also the upper sediment or the upper layers. Then we look at what we call analysis and competition, transition of the gradient. Then we move and look at relief. In other words, when you look at the relief here, we are looking at the general configuration or the general appearance of the earth at the point in time. When you look at the relief, how it may be appearing, how the environment tends to appear. So when you look at the relief, we have areas that may be with the steep slopes, gentle slopes, or areas that may be associated with the mountains, hills, plateaus, and plains. So those areas, those are our major concern there. And here you are going to be looking at the relief features of the land surfaces and how they are displayed on the map by the meaning of various techniques that you can use as when we are using the line contours to tell. Then we are going to be looking at the hill shadings, and then look at what we call the spot height or the trigonometric stations, and also look at what we call the benchmarks. So those are the areas that will be helping us to describe the relief. And now when we proceed, those are one of our intended objectives at the end of the study, whereby we shall be able to identify major map relief features and also clarify and interpret different slopes as presented by the contours. And then we shall also look at the analysis and development of interference from the terrain configuration, how they tend to be appearing in terms of relief. And then we look at what we call the vertical interval and the horizontal equivalent or horizontal interval for the gradient analysis. When you talk about vertical interval, here we tend to be looking at the difference between the two successive contours or between the two neighboring contours. For instance, you may be having an area consists of very many contours, but the difference between one contour to another or to the next contour, that's what we call the vertical interval. When you look at these maps of ours, the different map extract that we tend to be having, sometimes where you have the symbols, they clearly show the vertical interval in there. So that one can be an example of what we shall be using when we come to that side. Now, they are saying that the general description of the relief map. Then I say that when you look at the relief, we are talking about the general information on the terrain. For example, mountains, valleys, slopes, depressions, as they are defined by the contours and their representation. Now here, if I'm to talk about areas that are associated with the mountains, we tend to look at areas with too many compacted contours. For instance, let us talk this in terms of relief. Areas that are associated with the compacted contours, when the contours are too compacted, those areas we may term them to be uplands or what we can term as a steepened slope or steepened region. When you push on, you look at another description in terms of contours being widely spread, kind of widely spread, but not widely, but they are a bit spread, or they are the difference between them is kind to be smaller. So it appears to be a bit wider So those areas simply mean that the area, it has got what we call the gentle slopes, or what you can call a gently sloping region. Now when you push on and look at areas that have got widely spread contours, that means that those areas they are usually valleys, or they are swampy areas, or they are lowland areas, or they are flatlands. So those areas they have contours which are widely spread. We term them to be low-lying regions. That's how leaf can be described there in terms of its appearance. Below here they are saying that the earth is a dynamic interference across which the atmosphere, water, and other distinguished features can be found or exist in their natural state. So that's how we can describe relief as for now, but also we can describe relief in terms of using what we call the spot heights, or what we call the trigonometric stations. You will be finding some maps having a circle. When you have a circle, small circles in them, but they have what we call dots or points in there in the middle of the circle. Those clearly show what we call the spot heights. And also when you look at the trigonometric stations, for them they have what we call they appear to be in a triangle format. When they appear to be in a triangle format, but they have what we call a dot in them, it clearly shows that those areas or that diagram or that shape, it is what we call a trigonometric station. So when you want to determine the relief of the area, when you look at those spot heights and the trigonometric stations, you look at the difference between those two regions. Areas that have got those trigonometric stations or the spot heights, you look at very many spot heights in order to determine the highest points. So it can clearly help you that to know the areas that have got the highest point or the highest spot heights. When you push on and look at the areas that have what we call the lowest points, when you want to determine the areas that have got the lowest point, we tend to be looking in areas, or we tend to be finding out areas that are around swamps and water bodies. So those are areas that try to show that they appear to be at a low point. So that's how we can describe relief by the use of the spot heights in terms of the relief. I've talked about the spot height. I've talked about the relief. You may be even you may be told to describe the relief. Then even you can tell them that you just look at how the environment tends to be appearing. If they are lakes, that means that you have to tell the person that we have a lake this side and this side in terms of the direction. We talk about plateaus. With the plateaus, we call them the flat raised piece of land. So when you see contours, when they are widely spread, it shows that in those areas they may be a wetland or a flat topped area. That's how we can describe relief. And when you want to find out the heights, you may use what we call the spot height that I've been talking about, and also look at how the figures they may be ranging along the contours or the spot heights. You have to be viewing them and determine how they are spread in terms of meters or heights. They are saying that each height zone or contour layout altogether they have